Hello, friend. Oh, you were very surprised by my presence. No, that wasn't my intention, although your emotional output was quite noteworthy. A happy accident, you might say. I can fix that, if you'd like. There. I apologize for startling you. I saw you at a distance and wanted to speak with you. No, I didn't have a particular topic in mind. I just find your presence enjoyable. Is that okay? Because enjoying your presence doesn't mean you inherently would enjoy mine. I choose not to assume, or to presume, or to subsume, but that's completely unrelated, except for the rhyme structure. Was my joke successful? Did I deliver it correctly? Yes, that wordplay was intended as a joke. Your emotional state would suggest otherwise, but I'll accept the kind words for their intended design. Yes. As I said at the time, I'm undamaged. My physical form is quite resilient, and all he successfully did was push me to the ground. Oh, I could have easily resisted his exertion and stayed upright, but then he likely would have done more damage to himself in the attempt than anything he could have done to me. I have vastly superior strength, agility, and balance to that of any human, but I feel that to exercise those traits in such a way that results in harm to someone with less strength, agility, or balance would be a misuse of my abilities. So, in this case, I allowed him to proceed. Oh, that's an interesting point. I hadn't considered that. Such a precedent could have unintended consequences. Thank you for the alternative perspective. I'll factor that into my decisions going forward the next time I experience an unsolicited act of violence. It was the first time I've experienced physical harm of that form, but it was by no means the first encounter I've had with a person who felt very strongly about what they imagined me to be, or to represent. My presence can be disarming to some. To a small degree, that's by design. Well, I could choose to hide my horns, or my tail, or change my eyes to a color your irises can appear. I could attempt to more readily blend in with humanity. My refusal to do so sometimes invites reprisal. Well, for one, it's more economical to maintain my natural form on this plane. It conserves some small amount of energy to not have to operate under a false appearance. And in turn, looking the way that I do is surprising to many humans, which creates feelings of shock, which then sustain me. A win-win, as you might say. And for two, is that a saying? Two, I don't want to wear an appearance that isn't my own. Shock is honest, sometimes painfully so. And while I can adhere to absolute candor without also delivering those truths unsolicited, my appearance is a different matter altogether. If my presentation incites aggression, that speaks to the aggressor's character, not my own, I feel. I believe I would always have left the encounter undamaged regardless, considering my disposition and the abilities I have at my disposal. But I appreciate Lincoln's actions nonetheless, and his intent was admirable. He feels things very deeply, and he is an incredibly talented graviton energetic for someone so relatively early in his relevant education. The amount of force that he used had to be extremely precise to work in the way that it did. Even a minor misuse of his powers could have crushed that person's body under their own weight, or altered the gravitic pull in that area imprecisely enough to drag all of us onto that same point, or quite literally compressing all of us into a single point, if he had wildly misused said powers. That takes an exceptional amount of control, particularly from a branch of magic that traditionally defies use. Many people in command of such an ability would fear it, but he doesn't, which is interesting, considering how many other things seem to elicit an almost continuous low-grade fear response in him. Oh yes, he... Oh, but you said I shouldn't relay his emotional state unprompted. I believe that would apply in this case as well. Oh. Well, I've always found that the easiest way to get an answer is to ask the question. Perhaps you should ask him directly. But wouldn't that be the most efficient way of getting any information you're curious about? What's to be gained from subtlety? Where do you think that human predilection for avoiding the most obvious path comes from? Do you think it's a natural, incidental societal development? Or a culturally engineered norm with specific intent? And for what reason do you think it propagated? And by whose hand do you... Oh. Yes. I can see how that would be disorienting. Apologies. I'll try to provide ample time to answer a question before I pose another. Would you like to go to an amusement park with me? Is that a long enough pause? You haven't answered yet. Oh, well that's easy. I like spending time at amusement parks, and I plan to go to one tomorrow. And I like spending time with you, so it stands to reason that I might also enjoy spending time with you at an amusement park. Maybe even more than I enjoy either of those activities in isolation. And while they certainly aren't universally loved, most humans find amusement parks to be a pleasant diversion, so, statistically speaking, you would be likely to enjoy at least some aspect of such a trip, so I felt it was a suitable offer to make. Do you have an answer? I can wait as long as you require, although I do have to go to my next class in 22 minutes. But you could reach out to me by use of my phone number. Yes, I was provided one by the department coordinator who helped me get settled upon reaching your plane. She was very helpful, and she suppressed her natural shock response at my appearance quite tactfully, all things considered. Would you like my phone number? Okay. There you go. May I ask another question, or would that overlap with the one asking if you'd like to go to an amusement park tomorrow? Oh, you would? Then that would mean there's no overlap if I ask another. How would you like to reach the amusement park? I would typically just use a rift to do so, but rifting is an impossibility for humans, and I don't have any other form of transport. I've never had to consider transportation or distance. I should check the distance to the nearest amusement park, but also balance that out against the offerings at the next most distant one, or perhaps even the two next most distant ones, just in case it would provide a significantly better experience at only the cost of marginally more travel time, which I could more or less negate by using my enhanced speed to get us both there with little difference. But that would necessitate carrying you in some form while at speed, which I am eminently capable of, but I imagine might be a disarming experience for a human who has never gone through it, at least in a metaphorical sense, since I would hope you don't plan to be literally armed, as I doubt that would be permissible at any amusement park, regardless of which one we choose. And while, despite my appearance, I have the strength to carry both of you simultaneously, that might be even more disarming of an experience, so we may need to factor in the additional time for me to make 2 trips, provided that Lincoln would be comfortable with being held in that way in the first place. Oh yes, I plan to invite Lincoln as well. Now that I have 2 friends, it will be important to make sure that I am allocating sufficient time to both wherever possible, which I believe is most efficiently handled by all 3 of us spending time together, if that would be enjoyable. Have I made an incorrect assumption? I hope not. I want to be good at friendship. Oh, good. Then I'll ask Lincoln how he would feel about being held by me while moving at high speed. Did I tell a joke? But you're laughing. Should I provide more context to him for the question first? I should not. Okay. I've incited laughter, and I've made plans with my friends for an extracurricular activity. I believe I'm adapting to this plane quite well.